There we go. Oh yeah, that's a good one right there. Oh yeah. There's another one. Oh yeah. All right, get him in the boat. Oh yeah, that's nice. Alrighty, there you go. That is a nice Bartlett fish. Catch some boatload of those. Oh, there he is.
Oh, there. Oh, Jesus Christ.
It's a smallie, and I'm. Oh. Ready?
Yeah.
Sweet. Oh yeah. Nice one. Okay. Another 2 3/4 on my way. This one, he's pushing 3. Hey everybody, I hope you like that action, that buzzbait action. It's that time of the year. Buzzbait season is in full swing, frankly, here in Arizona, and so I hope you can learn something from this really quick little talk about buzzbaits. I love throwing buzzbaits again because, look, I love throwing at targets. I love buzzbaits. I like throwing around heavy cover, bushes, things like that, laydowns, if you can find them, but mostly here in Arizona, it's bushes. And I just love having that fish come up and eat it. So I want to thank everybody for stopping by, taking the time to watch this video. And you've seen a bunch of buzzbait videos from me. It's a great, buzzbait fishing is great for capturing video, so it's fun and a lot of that, but I also enjoy doing it, and I catch some decent fish sometimes. So let me just talk about it. So right now here in Arizona, we're having this hot spell, 10 to 15 days of well above normal, record-breaking temperature that is slowing down the transition to fall water temperatures, where as the nights get shorter and the temperatures drop in the fall as they normally do, okay, that shallow water cools faster than the main water, and bait fish move in there, and the bass feed on them. So bass will be up shallow feeding on those types of baits, and of course the dragonflies, where they're in the backs of the coves and they're mating and they're dropping their eggs, and you'll see bass actually jump out of the water to eat those things. It's a lot of fun to do that, and sometimes in those situations, and the mood is right, the fish, perhaps the weather's in good situation, a little bit of a chop, you can go in the backs of coves and you can throw the buzzbaits and you can catch them for the dragonfly bite, right? So let me just talk about that first. So here's an example of my attempt at a dragonfly bait. So it's got this green head, which actually the color's called dragonfly. I powder paint my own stuff. I do it, I don't know, for the fun of it, I guess, but I can get the colors I want. And it has greens and this brown. So this is more like orange, and it's almost the color of the wings of some of the dragonflies that we have. And the bodies of those dragonflies tend to be green. So this is what I'm trying to simulate here. I don't know if I'm doing it. I don't know if it matters, but I'm doing anything I can to make the bass feel comfortable so they'll come up and eat it. This happens to be a 1/2 ounce model with a pretty good sized blade on it. I can cast this further, especially in the wind. So if I get that breeze going, which I kind of want, this 1/2 ounce model, I can cast better. And the heavier the bait is, the more accurate I can cast it, actually. And I'm going to talk about the rod I like to use when I do this, but that's a 1/2 ounce model. I also have this in lighter heads in case I want to downsize the blade, but I'm just kind of showing you what I'm doing here, okay? In the same vein, I have another pretty good sized one here. Now this is nothing like a dragonfly. I got the blue blades on it. This is something I'm going to throw in pretty clear water, trying to simulate or emulate shad, like up on the surface, and maybe other fish are after them, and this thing's going through the water, churning up all kinds of problems. And this blue color is something I like to do. Again, I painted it myself. It's another 1/2 ounce. So this one I can cast a long, long way, and maybe I'm not throwing this so much in cover as near cover, or just in areas where I think the fish might be feeding on shad. Often I'll put a trailer. So this particular model here has a nice little trailer catch right there, right? I'll put a trailer on it of some sort, give it more bulk, and then I'll put a trailer hook if I need to. Giving the bait more bulk, as I've done here a little bit, I think also makes it easier for the fish to grab it. It makes the bait bigger though, so keep that in mind. This guy here is just your standard white. Now this is a smaller bait. It's a 1/4 ounce head. It has still the same design. I have fluffed up this blade. I dipped it in just sparkle. The problem is this doesn't spin as good anymore, so probably I'm going to throw this in the water and see how it works. I've just made this bait, and if it doesn't spin very well, I'll chalk it up as a mistake and pick a different blade type that'll work. But nonetheless, this is definitely a shad bait, right? It's a little smaller, a little smaller blade, and a little less disturbance. On a bait similar to this with a regular standard blade, not a foofed up one there. I took 3rd place in a midweek bass club throwing this in middle of summer. So it's a great little buzz bait. It does very well. At that time I had a trailer hook on it, and I think I had a trailer, again this particular model has the ability to put a trailer keeper hook, I mean, for the back. So I kind of like that. When I'm looking at buzz baits, I want ones that I can actually add a trailer and it'll stay on better. So keep that in mind. Whatever ones you like, have one you can stick a plastic trailer on there to give it more bulk, easier for the fish to catch. Lastly, I think this is an interesting all around. This is a pretty big bait, pretty big blade here, and it's definitely simulating a shad or a minnow of some sort like that. So definitely with the paddle tail, the whole thing. This is a Reaction Innovation skidding dipper. I put on a toad type head. Again, I make this, but you can buy these and then hook them up. This is, a bigger bait, and they won't always eat this. I was actually in that tournament. They would eat this little guy. You can see the difference in size here. Let me see if I can hold it, right? You can see the difference. But if you want to churn up a lot of water, and it's breezy out there, then this bigger blade here will do it for you. If it's a little calmer, flat, maybe even, then maybe it's downsizing that buzzbait. I know guys like to throw dual bladed, twin blades. I just haven't done it much. I'll just go up to something like this if I want to get in the wind. That's my solution to the problem. Anyway, that's sort of a selection of the different buzzbaits and colors. I like throwing this with a particular reel. I have in the past been using Shimano SLX 150 DC reels, and I just decided to upgrade. I had 3 of them. I wanted to get ones a little better smoothness in the retrieve, and so I moved up to the Corrado 150 DC. Now, the DC reel is, I think, a critical and key once I've learned that I should use them. When you're throwing a buzzbait and it's breezy, most of the time you got to throw it with the wind or something like that. It's almost impossible to throw a buzzbait directly into the wind. But there are times when you're throwing a crosswind, and the blade will, when it's going through the air, it'll catch the wind and it'll slow down dramatically. A gust of wind will slow it down, and that's where the DC can really be handy. Okay, it's helpful. Doesn't keep it purely from being rat's nested, or you don't go right to a rat's nest. You sort of it gets cluttered and cluttered and cluttered, and then you got to turn around and throw it in with the wind a long ways and get it out there, pull out the clutter, and then reel it in. But the DC reels goes a long ways to making that less dramatic. The 150 size is important because, look, I'm throwing this on 16-pound line generally. If I'm super heavy cover, I might go to 18. Fluorocarbon is what I do. I know a lot of guys will throw it on braid, and that's not a bad idea. And if you do throw it on braid, then certainly pay attention to my rod I'm using here. It's a St. Croix Legend Tournament rod. It's a chatterbait rod. It's designed really for chatterbaits, and it's designed for when a fish grabs a chatterbait. It's sort of a reaction fishing. You're working a chatterbait, right? Like you work a buzzbait. When the fish comes and takes it, the rod has a power to throw the heavier baits, power to get the fish out of heavy cover, but it also has a moderate action right here, okay? So it bends way down into the body, okay? Allows that fish to get a hold of that bait, get it in its mouth before you can set and give it too much power, okay? Now, another thing, this is a hybrid rod. It's a carbon glass hybrid. A lot of guys will throw glass rods for chatterbaits. I've and crankbaits. And I bet you some people do it with buzzbaits too, because of the same principle. It's moving bait and that fish, you want to give that fish some time. I don't like pure glass rods. I tried them a long time ago, just don't like them. So I love the hybrids. So this is a great hybrid. If you're a chatterbait fisherman and you're a buzzbait fisherman, and by the way, if you like throwing spooks, big, large, heavy type topwater walking baits, this is a fantastic rod. Again, that moderate action is designed to keep the fish hooked up once you catch them, okay? Once they get on there. So I highly recommend you looking at that style of rod. I've caught a lot of fish with this rod, the setup with the SLX Shimano. I'm sure it's going to be fine with this one. And the DC is a great combination. So, you know, that is a perfect buzzbait setup for me, okay? I think you can get by with a medium heavy fast action, a medium heavy moderate fast action. It probably work just fine, okay? But you want that extra power, get the heavy power rod, and if you want that extra fish catching ability, then the glass hybrid combination is just a great combination. Anyway, the season in Arizona is going to be compressed, I think. It's going to cool off, it always will. And instead of maybe 6 weeks of fun buzzbait topwater fishing, it might drop it to 4 weeks. It all depends. Maybe everything just gets pushed back, you know, and maybe it'll go through mid-November with the buzzbaits. I know guys will fish buzzbaits really late in the fall. For some reason, it seems less productive to me, but nonetheless, get out there and try it. It's a great time to throw buzzbaits. As soon as it cools off, get out there and start throwing them. You can already catch buzzbait fish at Roosevelt. I'm sure you can catch them on other lakes. As soon as it cools off, give it 4 or 5 days, 10 days really, and get out there and try it. You're going to enjoy this. Buzzbaiting is not easy. It's a thing of cast and chunk, you know, chunk and wind, and you just got to do it. Get your troll motor moving, keep moving, hit targets. I love fishing brushy points with a lot of brush on it, and you got to find the alleyways, okay? Now, I'm going to give you a pro tip here when you're fishing with a bait caster, of course. When you make a cast and you have to hit an alleyway, you can actually you throw the bait out there to the spot you want to hit it, but sometimes you can take your rod and as it's going out, you can slow it down with your thumb, okay? Just feather it a little bit. Then you can take your rod tip and you can guide it right in between bushes, okay? So if you make a cast and it's like, oh darn, it looks like the line is over the top of a bush, just you can move your rod tip over until the rod dips below that bush, and then just set your rod tip down. So learn how to cast, okay? If you're going to run a buzzbait in heavy cover, you're going to learn how to cast. Now, it's pretty funny because people don't learn how to cast properly. I'm not going to say I'm the world's best caster. I'm pretty good at it. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm probably a 9. If I fished 5 days a week all the time, I would probably get to be a 10, right? But I'm not there because I'll never get to be a 10 because I don't fish that much. But nonetheless, get your casting accuracy down and buzzbaiting becomes a blast in heavy cover. Anyway, enough of that diatribe. Anyway, thank you for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed this. Get out there, get buzzbaiting, and by the way, be free out there.